Okay, great.
I'm full of comp state,
I like
my
it. I like
superintendent certification program.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we're ready for our second presenter and final presenter for the panel this afternoon. This is Noah. Noah, we're going to start by having your panel introduce themselves to you so you know who you're speaking with. Can you start here?
Yeah, I'm Kristen Whitaker, my director for Spokane Public Schools.
Hi Noah, I'm Michael Dunn. I'm a retired school district and education service district superintendent, and I teach at Washington State University and work as a consultant.
Okay.
Hi Noah, I'm Stacy Ott. I work for World Relief. We do refugee resettlement and services, and I've done refugee simulations at the community school before.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Levine. I am an HR specialist at Spokane Public Schools.
You know,
good.
I'm Jackie Branch, and I'm also an HR specialist at Spokane Public Schools.
All right. Ready to begin? All right, so thank you all for coming to my grad defense. It's been a long time coming, 4 years. So let us begin. All right, so before I get into my actual projects, I came from, before I came to TCS, I went to Balboa Elementary for elementary school and Salk for middle school. And Salk, or just middle school entirely, was just a very miserable experience for me. I absolutely hated middle school because it was just, the building was big and the classes were just not fun and boring. And, there's just too many people. I just wasn't a big fan of it. I'm not a people person. I'm more of an introvert. So it really wasn't for me. But one day, this was during the not the lockdown. It was during the pandemic. They had us in for half days just on the computers in the library. And the teacher pulled up a video of a TCS ambassador talking about the community school. When I saw that video, I realized that it would probably be for me because I really didn't want to go to Shadle or NC next year because it would just be more of middle school for 4 more years. So that's when I decided, to do TCS instead. All right, so my 101 year, I came in, it was definitely, TCS is definitely different than lots of other high schools. And I needed some time adjusting to that. But overall, I'd say my 101 year was pretty successful. I think I did pretty good during it. I don't know, I'm probably a little biased about that. But let's move on. So the first project that I remember anything about, this might have been the first project of the year actually, but it was Knowledge is Power, where we had to make a video demonstrating some scientific topic. And this was the video that I came up with.
Newton's first law is that objects that are in rest stay in rest, and objects that are in motion stay in motion. So, for instance, this water bottle is in rest right now, and it's going to stay in rest. But if I move it, it's in motion, and it's going to stay in motion until I stop it. Newton's second law is that depending on the mass of an object, you need a force reaction so you can push it. So for instance, this branch dresser is easy to move with one finger, but this water bottle is more difficult to move with one finger. But if I move the water bottle with my whole hand, it's easier to move. And if I move the rank dressing with my hand, it's even easier to move. This is force equals mass times acceleration. That's what the equation is called. Newton's third law is that objects that are pushed usually push back. Now this water bottle, I am holding it, but I'm feeling force downwards. So if I don't hold it as tight, my arm is just gonna come down because of its weight. Every object has an opposite equal opposite reaction.
Okay, that's a lot shorter than I remembered it being. But the point is that this was the first video I made for the school. And as you could see, it was during, also the pandemic, because for the first half of my 101 year, we were all wearing masks, and we were, just being extra cautious. So, as you could tell, it was real riveting stuff, that video. But this is the project that I remember the most for my 101 year, and it was called Fight or Flight, and it's where we made these, they called them lobber droppers, even though they were essentially just catapults. And we first made one out of paper. That's the one on the left. Then the one on the right is our final product. We were launching tennis balls across the across the parking lot with them. All right, so now we move on to my 201 year. This picture kind of is a little bit grainy. I couldn't find any better picture for my 201 year. But this year, for me, my 201 and 301 year kind of meshed together, because I feel like I just kind of have troubles differentiating what was a 201, what I did in 201 year, what I did in 301 year. So 201 year is overall the year that I probably remember the least from. But I did make this. We made a poster here about how AI could be used to explore the ocean. And we threw this together. And this was the first, one of the first major graphic design related things I made. I think it turned out pretty well. One of my teammates wrote up the text and put in the QR codes, and then I put in this ocean background and changed the font color up there. So this was another project we did. In this project, titled The West and the Rest, we had to look at, I forgot what it was. It was, we looked at different countries and how, different countries lived or whatever. And we made two of these, me and my partner. We did one for a family called the Barnards in the UK. And we did one for the Hassans in Egypt. And we threw up some pictures from the website. We used the website Dollar Street to source pictures, so we weren't stalking people. But yeah, and we just put those pictures on this, and just talked about what their living situation's like. All right, so this is my 301 year. This here's a picture from Springfest last year. I went to a place called Our Place Spokane, which is a food bank, and helped fold clothes donations. So for this year, again, this one kind of meshed up with the 201 year, so I remember this one more than the 201 year, because it happened later, but still kind of not as, memorable as 101 or 401. So, our first project, or the first one that I will talk about, is for a project called KTCS, where we had to make a little segment that would be played on the radio. And me and my partner chose the topic of domestic abuse to cover through our news segment, and I'll see if this will play. No, it won't.
You can use a mouse.
Okay.
Physical
there you
violence
go.
is a massive problem, not just in America, but worldwide. According to Healthline, approximately 10 million people experience domestic abuse yearly in the U.S. alone.
According to the National Library of Medicine, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men are victims of domestic violence sometime in their life.
To get help with domestic violence, contact the Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-7233.
So that, what you just heard, played on the local radio, which is pretty cool. How do I? There you go. Okay, so this project here, this is from a project called Love and Labor from in Lilac City. And we read a book called The Cold Millions by Jess Walter. And this book takes place back in the 1910s, back during the time where, like, the minimum wage didn't exist, or, like, there weren't really a whole lot of, like, workers' rights, mainly. So that's what this book covers, is the time period. But this writing here I made because we had like a map of different events that are named in the book, and I chose to cover Missoula, and I had a quote from the book right up here. It says, they'll haul a few of us to jail and we'll make a big deal of it, and that's it. The IWW, which was the workers' union, ran this same sort show in Missoula, and after a week of feeding 20 singing tramps in jail, the city dropped the whole thing, from page 46. And then I wrote like a descriptor of what happened in the book and, the actual historical events that took place there. Okay. So, student reporters. This video kind of makes me laugh because we didn't really do a whole lot of editing on it. We just took the interview and we just spliced some footage into it. But I think we were supposed to have like an introduction and an outro, but we didn't. So the topic that we were supposed to report that our team chose was whether or not teachers should be allowed to be armed to prevent school shootings. And this is the video that we came up with. We interviewed a para at our school named Trina and she's the one that answered the questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, thank you so much for coming here again, Trina.
That's fine. And do you need the same parameters, Trina Legnon?
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
Okay, I am a paraeducator here at the community school in Spokane.
Okay, now to kick things off, when was the first time you heard or really felt strongly about this issue of guns being in schools?
Guns being in schools. The first time it was brought up in my life was the Columbine shooting. I was pregnant with my daughter, And after that, immediately members of the school board and parents are like, we've got to do something to protect kids in school. Maybe that means hiring extra security, maybe it means taking on guns for staff members as well. So that was the first time I heard of it.
Okay, and to get into the meat of this, how should we treat guns in schools, whether it be how we teach kids to approach them, think about them, or whether or not there should actually be guns in schools?
In my world, guns are weapons. Schools are no place for weapon. I didn't want my children to be raised with guns in schools. To me, that was, it brings more fear to the students. And I worry about staff members carrying guns, not a vision I want my students to see.
This kind of topics of protecting our kids.
I don't know what that was about.
It can be a very
Right.
heated one, very emotional one. Would you say that it brings people more together than it divides? How polarizing, in your opinion, is it?
Again, in my world, it's very polarizing. But I have friends who own guns, and they feel that students need to be protected at all costs, even if it includes weapons. I, on the other hand, do not want to see teachers armed. I think it brings a cloud of fear and mistrust in a school.
Now, how do you think that gun violence has, or how do you think it should change the way that we do run schools? Because with everything that goes on as laws and technology advances, how do you think that schools should or have changed throughout history, really?
Well, so my first thought about schools, how can we help? When you read about school violence and people entering schools with guns, they are usually current or former students of the institution.
I'm just gonna stop it there. It's basically it just goes on like that for the next 2 minutes, and we didn't do super good on this project. I think we got a pretty low grade for this video, but the important thing is that it made me realize that I should probably put more work into projects. I should have put the intro or the outro in there. Should have done a voiceover, but oh well, it's no use crying over spilled milk, I guess. So, this here is the events of my final year here at TCS. But, the projects are over there on the side. I think I'm going to cover most of them except for the science ones, because I don't like science. So, let's begin. All right, so the first project that I'm going to discuss that happened this year was the My Vote, My Voice one. This was happening right before the election. And so what me and my partner did was our whole class was basically supposed to make a sort of voter's guide pamphlet. And me and my teammate got the opportunity to make the page for the president of the third party options. Like you had the main ones on a different page. But this is what me and my team member came up with. We got 4 different candidates. The different team got the other 4 third party candidates. And we, wrote the little blurbs on what they were promoting or what they were, known for. So, I would say overall I enjoyed this project quite a bit. I liked it. I'll just leave it at that. My Okay, there you go. Law and Order. So this one we were looking at Supreme Court cases from the past, and we were going to choose a Supreme Court case to like make a timeline of. So it's probably kind of hard to see this one, but that I chose for my court case Dred Scott v. Sanford. It's a very well-known Supreme Court case. So I put the timelines on what happened. It was a freed, what was it? It was a guy who, I think it was Dred Scott. This Dred Scott guy was basically a former slave, but I think he escaped, and his former slave owner tried like suing him to get him back or something, and it got through. Like he lost, or Dred Scott lost the court case. So it was a very, very bad Supreme Court decision, but it is, one of the more important ones, is it set the precedent, but yeah, it was a terrible, terrible court case. And then after we did that, we got assigned a fictional court case that we were supposed to argue against or for. I got this one here, the Riez v. Midtown School Board. This is a fictional court case. It never actually happened. But I got put on the side of the Midtown School Board. Essentially what it was it was a school that was pulling out books from their school's library if the school saw them as inappropriate or whatnot. And my argument essentially boiled down to, because of, where is it? I brought up Tinker v. Du Bois, which was a real court case, and I also brought up Bethel School District v. Frazier. These were both court cases involving school censorship, and I also brought up the First Amendment, and my argument was essentially that I believe that the school should be allowed to pull books from the libraries that they see as, inappropriate. So, let's move on. Okay, so Riddle of the Sphinx. This one was, what we were supposed to do was we had to, what was it? Oh yeah, we had to look at a current political situation. And first we were supposed to do it on our own, then we were supposed to do it with a team. So alone, I covered the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. And for the team, me and my team members went with anti-affirmative action. And we made these, what I did with the solo one was we put them up to the newspaper to get them published. Mine didn't get published. But many of my fellow classmates did get in the newspaper. It was Spokesman Review, which was pretty cool. But for the team one, we had like a panel, much like this, and we just gave our presentation. This is a picture of the slide show that we made. And I just thought it was a fun project. All right, this was definitely a good way to end off the year. This project was called Sealing the Deal. What we did at the beginning of the project was look at a Washington State House bill about, it was a rent cap, about how much landlords could charge on rent. And we got split off into teams. One team was in favor of this House bill. The other was not in favor of the House bill. I was in the latter. And what we did was we wrote down, we got these little sheets and we wrote down, why we took this position, basically. And the second half of the project was we got to build sheds. Habitat for Humanity wanted us to build some little sheds. And so that's exactly what we did. You can see I'm in the picture back there. Right now they're putting on the ceiling, but yeah, it was definitely, it was pretty entertaining, I think, because it's, I want to get into carpentry in some point in my life, but so this was a pretty good project for me because it's good practice. Okay, so where I'm heading. So currently, I didn't put this in the slide because it happened after I created my slides, but I got a job at Amazon in the warehouse, and that's pretty exciting. I'm starting this Thursday, and after I've done that for a year or two, I'm planning on going to the community colleges of Spokane to try to get a trade program done involving carpentry. So yeah, that's where I plan on going. I also plan on getting a driver's license at some point. I'll work on that over the summer. All right, and that concludes my grad defense. Thank you all for coming.
To your panel for feedback and questions.
Okay.
Congratulations on your new job at Amazon.
Thank you.
I know a lot of people that have worked there and have enjoyed it a lot, so that's great. You said that you are going to go to the community colleges. Are you already enrolled there and ready to go for next, or is it not time to do that yet?
I am enrolled, but it's with the welding program, and I plan on changing that to the carpentry, and I plan on waiting like a year to do that so I can save up some money from Amazon.
Oh, well, that's a good idea, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the sheds, have you done any other carpentry work?
Yeah, last year, for the 5th session project called No Holds Barred, is a Shakespeare project. We were supposed to build stages for the performance because we were reenacting a Shakespeare play. And so I got to build one of those stages. It was pretty fun. Yeah.
Is there a reason that you're leaning towards carpentry? Is that something in your family, or is it just something you started?
It's just something I started liking, one point, it was mainly the stage building or some other events too, but it just made me, I just think it's satisfying, just building something up,
I could see from all the projects that you worked on from your 101 year all the way up to your 401 year that you definitely got better as you went along, and you had a lot of interesting projects. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I liked most of my projects,
Learned a lot from them, probably, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
congratulations, and good luck at the community colleges.
Thank you.
And then one comment is, as far as your repertoire of working, I just want to say I really admire that you picked some hard topics to speak about.
Sure.
Starting with the DV and then guns in schools, politics, the banned book, censorship, things like that.
Yeah.
Really impressive to want to be able to speak about those and create work around that. And then my question for you is, since you hit a lot of different areas, like building Catapult, doing some video and editing things, which one was your favorite out of all of the ones that you did? Do you have one that stands out to you as far as something you presented on?
Yeah, I really liked, let me go back to it.
Is the clicker still on? There's a little switch on the side.
Where?
You see?
Oh, how did that happen? Okay. That's what the problem. I accidentally turned it off. Let me look for it. Let me think. I really liked the My Vote, My Voice project. You know, I think it was probably one of my favorites. Yeah.
I do like that one. I like the design of it, and the solid versus the outline ones.
Yeah.
Drawing to the eye. Nicely done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you think that a presentation like this and the in-depth knowledge that you have is kind of like you've talked about maybe getting involved in city politics?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that those things are kind of correlate a little bit?
Could you repeat the question?
Do you think that your interest in city politics is because of what you learned or some of the projects that you did in school?
Oh, definitely. These projects that are about, you know, more political, like My Vote, My Voice, Riddle of the Sphinx, Law and Order, you know, all those projects, you know, those really did pique my interest in terms of politics as a whole. And I might get into that later in my life, not yet. But, you know, it interests me.
Yeah, well done, Noah. I really appreciated your honesty and your reflection in it. I don't think anyone likes middle school. It's so hard, but I love that you saw how that was a catalyst to make some decisions that affected your future by choosing to go to the community school. And so that is commended, like way to reflect on that and then take action on what is best for your future. I think the community school seems like it is interesting, like your projects are very about social issues and politics. And so I'm curious, do you think you would be as aware of social issues and politics if you did not go to the community school?
No, I'd probably be just as aware about them because, you know, I see them on, you know, the news or YouTube or, you know, I just see the topics or people around me bring them up. You know, I just know. I just feel like I'd know without going to TCS.
I don't want to be a broken record, Noah, but I was struck by your honesty, by your honest reflection, and by the work products that you showed us over the course of your 4 years here. At one point, you said 201 and 301 kind of blended together.
Yeah.
And the older you get in life, what you're going to find out is everything blends together.
Yeah.
And build on each other. You talked about having to adapt. You talked about from Balboa to SALT during a global pandemic, and then finding your way here. It appears to me you're going to find your way to where you want to be, and doing that in a very thoughtful way. Congratulations on the job at Amazon. I do admit I sometimes order from there, so if you can get it to our home a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. And I too was impressed by just seeing the process that you went through here at school, you know, starting your story at middle school level and being able to like know yourself. I think that's a very good quality, is to have self-reflection skills, be self-aware, to really understand and know your own mind. So that came through very clearly. I'm curious what your next carpentry project might be. Do you have any ideas of doing anything at home while you're working at Amazon, or maybe your family has a project or two for you to gain skills?
I was making a step stool in one of my classes, but the school year ended, or for me anyway, so I couldn't finish it. So my brother's finishing that up. But, I did get to work on it. And I think of what else I did. I tried to make a little like storage box, but I gave up on that because there's this sticker on it, and I tried to sand the sticker off, but it just wouldn't come off. So I don't know what that sticker was made out of.
Well, I'd encourage you to have a multitude of experiences and, explore carpentry in various ways. There's lots of YouTube videos out there on how to do things and make things, or if you may find a different interest that you want to follow and explore. So outside of our jobs, we can, have a more well-rounded life when we kind of create hobbies out of the things that we have an interest in, and someday we may, it'll help you decide what you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Noah.
Well, panel, that's it for you. Thank you so much for being here. We have really an absurd amount of cookies over there. We would love for you to take boxes, plural, multiple boxes, and we appreciate you.
Please grab a TCS mug. If you
Oh,
don't need
yeah.
it, somebody in your office does.
Can I take the
This is
TCS
just a
pen?
reminder
It's a
for
very
the
nice pen.
busy morning on the
Take the
night.
pens,
Yes,
take
so-
the mugs, take all the things.
Okay.
Actually, I have an idea if we have more pens.
Back.
Let's do
Yes,
that.
take the pens.
Take the pens.
I love
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're wondering, is he happy at
I don't
I'll shoot you an email.
Bring somebody.
Michael, I'll shoot you an email.
Yeah, you have my email, right? Yeah, trade down.
No, you did it.